Now we're recording.
There it is. Yep.
Okay. So let me make us smaller. I'll stick us over here. And that should do it. Okay, so now that we're functioning on full steam, this is how this came about. I had visited the court of the scribes. And one wing of the court of the scribes is like a museum. And there's all these glass cases. And that would be a fun trip. If we weren't doing healing protocols, I'd say, let's do that as an Ascension. And let's go into the court of the scribes. Because what you can do is you can go in there, it's like a museum, and you can open the cases and you can hold the artifacts, and whatever's there is downloaded into you. And so you learn and you see from their perspective. Well, we went into the court of the scribes in a group, and I opened the case where Moses' staff was, and I held Moses' staff. Well, that was all good and well, except that later I thought to myself, did you really get everything out of that the Lord wanted you to get? And I went and got it back, and I held it and 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 held it, and all of a sudden I'm in this desert, and I'm holding it and holding it and holding it, and all of a sudden Moses walks up to me, and Moses goes, "I'll take that." And he takes the staff. It's his staff. He takes it at him, and he hands me a red and white check cloth like they wear, and I'm in robes. They'd wear in the desert. So I'm holding the red and white check cloth, and I'm thinking, okay, is there something from this I'm supposed to pick up? And Moses, just all business, goes, "Would you put that on and come with me?" Oh, okay. So I put it on, and we go up Mount Sinai or whatever you call the thing, and walk into the cloud. And all of a sudden I had this startling revelation that, oh my gosh, the reason Moses knew all the stuff he knew and knew about the tabernacle is because he was there. It wasn't the case he sat in a mountain for 40 days and God told him stuff. He was there. And at one point in time, Jesus walked up. Moses was saved. Moses knew that Jesus was the Messiah. And he knelt and said, "My Lord, my King, my Savior." He knew, and he was saved. So we went through the tabernacle together, and then I went home. And I went, it's so real. It's so real. And from there, I decided to take the Northwest Ecclesiastic Council through, and it was quite the experience. So you guys, we're going to go through. This was a corporate ascension. I'm going to ask you where you at each station. I'm going to ask you where you're at, what you see, if you have any questions, and we will just go from each place, from place to place together. So as we enter through the gate, the first place we come to is the bronze altar. And you can tell by the picture and the little man standing there that it's pretty big. So let me know when you're there. Am I getting high fives from anybody? Laura's not in. Okay. Are you ready to be a living?
Yes.
No?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. Are you ready to be a living sacrifice? Are you ready to go through the experience?
Yes.
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. So they're going to take you over and they're going to lay you on one of the tables, and you can't see the tables where they slaughtered the animals in this picture. I think you can in the next one. Yeah, see the tables? And they would slaughter the animals on those tables. So the first thing they would do is slit the neck and drain the blood. Now, to me, I like to think it's Jesus that slit my neck and drained the blood. So that's the first thing that goes in the fire. And then the next thing that happens is you get skinned. So with the blood, you've given up your life. With the skinning, you've just become transparent because everything that was hidden is revealed. The next thing that happens is your head gets chopped off. And thrown in the fire. And here's the thing about getting your head chopped off. You're giving up the leadership of your life, the headship. You're giving up your own logic. You're giving up your own thoughts. The next thing that happens is you get gutted. Lungs, heart, stomach, liver, spleen, intestines, kidneys, adrenals, tossed in the fire. And this is the thing about this kind of sacrifice. It's not like they slaughter animals today. The next thing that happens is your arms and legs get popped at the joints. And your limbs are sliced off. You can no longer do your own work, and you no longer can walk your own way. And it's thrown in the fire. And what's left is they split the carcass in half. and it gets thrown in the fire. It's hot. It's uncomfortable. You feel ashy. Junk's getting burned out of you. So the next thing is the laver and baptism. So you tell me when you feel like you're done burning. And when you're done burning, you're going to get dunked in the laver because it's a form of baptism. And when you come out of that laver, you'll be in new linen. And the lady with scoliosis was healed in the burning when her spine was split in two. It straightened her scoliosis. Are you guys there yet? Are you in your new linen, or are you still in the process?
I got dunked and now I'm in new linen.
I'm still in the fire.
We'll wait.
So when I first went in, I started seeing, you know, that stuff you put into the chimney to get rid of creosote? The colors that I can't remember what it's called, but
I know what you're talking about.
I saw colors getting released.
Because it means it burns real hot.
Yeah. But now the Lord is dealing with some kind of nasty black looking stuff, kind of tarry stuff. Ooh. Oh.
Geraldine, are you trying to say something?
Oh, but that is very hot. I've been dunked now in white linen.
Okay.
Jesus just came and he took this big ball of black stuff and he said, "That's not yours." And I don't know, he's pulling it out of me. So I don't have to pay for these things. Does that make sense? I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It's in me, but it's not mine, and I don't have to, I don't know. I don't have to, this isn't my thing to sacrifice or something. I don't understand it. Whew. And I heard the word petrified and putrefied. It's kind of nasty. Oh.
When I got scared, I felt like on my arms, the gloves were being taken off of me, and like the long gloves, like a woman would wear to the ball or whatever. Felt like that, like it's sliding off of me, and underneath it was light.
Sandy, you're real distorted. Can you back away from your mic?
Sure, is that better?
Way better.
Okay. So I'll just repeat it for the recording. So when I was having my skin removed, it felt like I had long gloves on and that they were being pulled off. And underneath was light, like uh, underneath the skin was light was coming from my body. And then I felt a lot of stuff coming out of my heart and out of my intestines. I saw some kind of critters in my intestines, like I don't know, parasites or something, like that. But
Wow. For me, the skinning was really uncomfortable. Like the skin kind of sticks to the fatty tissue. If you've ever skinned something and you kind of got to, but I also know that I don't like public transparency. I don't have a problem being transparent in a small group, but I don't want to be transparent for all to see. So I guess the uncomfortable is good for me. But then when I got burned, it was kind of like, we talked about it today in another meeting. It was kind of like as I was burned, pieces of shrapnel whittled out of my flesh, rose out of my flesh and was burned up. There was just junk in my flesh here and there that was burned up. And when I got out of the fire and was dunked in the new robes, I felt really, really clean and free. Sense of freedom.
the part that was uncomfortable for me, the most uncomfortable, was the disjointing, popping out the joints, and not having any way to move your arms or your legs on your own. So that was kind of an interesting part to me this time.
That was me for last time. I physically could feel that pop, and then the knife come and slices at the joint. What? Anyway. Okay, you ready to go on? So now we made it from the outer court to the inner court. And the first place we're going to land is at the menorah. And they had to attend these menorahs and fill them with oil regularly. They're, as you can see, it's not a candle like what we think of. It's this oil-filled job, which represents the seven spirits of God. So you have oil of Holy Spirit and the seven spirits of God. And I invite you to put, as you tend to the menorah, to put some of the oil on you and to invite the seven spirits of God to surround you. And the thing about the seven spirits of God is they're also the characteristics of God. And for some reason, when I put some of the oil on me, I have this sense that his characteristics stick to me. And this is unusual for me this time. Never run into this before. They're playing with me. The 7 spirits of God are dancing.
Well, I remember that last time the 7 spirits, like some of the different candlesticks or whatever, they different colors went inside of me or whatever. But this time I don't know. I'm floating above them, and it's something with they're the ones that are making me float. And then they grasp my hands on occasion or whatever, I guess, sort of like in a dance type thing. But it's interesting. I'm still floating up in the air.
So Sandy, this may mean something to you. I just heard this week. I don't remember where. It might have been in council on Monday night. A lot of people here say wisdom's heights, but other translations say the heights of wisdom. So to me, the 7 spirits of God are taking you to heights, new heights.
Yes, I would probably agree with that. I'm feeling like a sense like it's a promotion or something. You know, I'm in a different position with them than I was the last time. Like before, they were filling me up and going within me or whatever, and now it's like they're lifting me up. I'm sort of like on, I don't know, some kind of interesting. I don't even know, some kind of energy.
Certain puppies agree with you.
Yes.
Well, then, in healing sessions, I just intuitively started asking the 7 spirits to hover over the different parts of the brain that were the 7 redemptive gifts. And anyway, for this experience right now, they just kind of swallowed all of them. And then they just started doing stuff in all of my body, my brain. And then I saw them come out my nose and my ears and my body gates, just all kinds of, I don't know what's going on in there, but it just feels like a big pinball machine thing with all these colors going every which way in my insides and outside and swirling around and then going for a second or third trip through. Maybe I'm seeing what I've been asking for.
Laura, I heard you're supposed to take another dip, whatever that means to you.
Take another dip, have them go for another round. I finally got out the fire by Jesus said, leave the old man behind and go on. And so I was able to move on. So another dip.
They're just singing to me. Lots of music, surrounding lots of music. A new sound.
That is very significant. That is very significant. One of the words today in the other meeting I was in was that God's sound is going to manifest and replace the sound of the enemy.
I like that.
That's interesting because I am sensing for myself right now that the Lord is increasing my frequency. And so that it resonates at the frequency of heaven that's supposed to resonate. But today I was praying for this person, that co-worker's wife of Norm, that she has cancer. And I found myself praying that the frequency of her body would come into alignment with heaven so that the cancer cells would die. Never prayed like that before, specifically. So anyway, I just feel like my frequency with the seven spirits, I know they have their frequencies. So that's part of what's restoring and realigning. And bringing healing, not just for myself, but for other people. That's just something that we've been all about with the ecclesia, even before I really got a clue. I mean, I met a couple people when we first started meeting, and Jesus says, "Oh, you have a compatible frequency with her," and I'm like, "Oh, well, what the heck does that mean?" That's what he told me about Elizabeth Gosman. You two have a good frequency together or something. I was like, I remember telling her that, and I'm like, I had no clue what I was talking about.
Now you know.
I don't know if I do now, but a little bit more.
So guys, we're at the showbread. We're at the other side of the menorah's on the south side, the showbread's on the north side. And the thing about the showbread is they had to eat it all once every 7 days and then replace it with new bread. It's a great place to take communion. So each individually on your own, feel free to take communion. Is it just me, or is the wine really, really sweet?
Well, with this one, remember last time I saw King David, and I saw David, and he was egging me on before you really got to this, and he was peeking around the showbread, and he was trying to get me to come over and eat it. And anyway, so this time I'm really feeling a sense of my future coming, like as I was taking the communion, like it was propelling me into the future, like bringing the future into the now.
Yep.
When I was hearing boldly enter into the throne of grace, it was like I wasn't shy about it. I knew that I had the privilege to, eat and drink here as a son, as a priest, as a co-heir. That there wasn't any hesitation about being qualified. That I was, more than able to just go right up and partake. I didn't have to examine myself or whatever. I just received. So that was different for me. I didn't feel any shame or guilt or I just felt like, kind of like when you get on I've never been to Disneyland, but a fast pass, just, something like that where you just you get ahead of the line privilege or whatever. You don't have to, you just get favor, whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You guys know sort of what I'm trying to say, but when you figure it out for me, let me know.
Okay, ready to go on? Carolyn's coming.
Yeah, I had communion with Jesus. He gave me communion there.
That was this morning, my communion this morning. Jesus gave me chicken and a biscuit. So we're at the altar of incense. And the incense is a sweet aroma before the Lord. And we've been called to new sounds, new lights, new activities, new fragrance across the land. So take some time to, they had to maintain and take care of. So that sweet aroma for each of you, take some time to make sure it's staying smoking and got the right amount of incense. So somebody's getting healing. There's healing in the incense.
That's probably me. He's having me mingle essential oils in with it, with making the incense.
Awesome.
I was told to add gardenia and petals, and also he's been doing this thing with violets and tincture of violet. That just started this week, and I know the tincture, that the violets, he's been talking to me about mercy and meekness. And so he said that I would carry the virtue of a violet for healing people. So I'm throwing some violets on it, as well as the gardenias. I haven't quite figured out what the gardenias mean yet. Sandy might have told me, and I might have forgotten, because I know I talked to her about gardenias.
It's not coming to me at this moment.
Okay.
He had me add rose petals, and rose petals are a very high frequency.
Well, last week it was about eating the Beatitudes. So the meek shall inherit the earth. So that mercy flows from meekness. And I know there's more that he wants to unpack with that, with the mercy and the mildness and the meekness. And then the rose too. Yes, Sandy, I smell it, that the roses makes me think of Rosa Sharon, the place of going into that place with him alone, the sweet fragrance of intimacy, and roses, love.
Well, the thing about the fragrance of rose is the crushing of the petal. And Amy Semple McPherson did a very famous sermon about that. And we are crushed in order to release his fragrance. That's part of the living sacrifice. So it's actually us on the altar that releases that fragrance. So, Laura, is the gardenia in you?
I would say maybe it's an aspect of me, but I think that the violets, because of the mercy, that is me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it in my heart. So I guess the roses have something to do with inside my heart.
Okay. You are a royal priesthood, a holy nation. And here we go. Through the veil into the Holy of Holies. Now here's the deal. You've heard this before. You're the other half of the covenant. So when we enter in there, we are completing the covenant. We are a symbolic representation of the completeness of our covenant with him. And in that covenant is the manifestation of our glory, of his glory. So you cannot get any deeper into his presence than this. While you were here, he has a gift for you. Remember, the temple is actually a trading floor. And we gave up our lives in order to enter into here. So now he's going to give you something in return. Laura, what did you see?
So he gave me a box, and specifically it's made out of teak, and it's got an ivory inlaid design on the top, and I can't see it all the way, but I can see that there's some circle, kind of a circular pattern. And then I was like, okay, what's inside the box? I lift off the lid, and inside is like a velvety emerald green velvet lining. And then I heard the word star sapphire. And then I heard the word ring of promise and next generation, and then something that's going to be birthed in September. I think that's when star sapphire is. The sapphires of September. I have a feeling this is something for me specifically with birthing, but also the promise of the next generation. My grandbabies. Because I've seen them in the spirit already, and both of my daughter-in-laws have female issues that are causing problems with getting pregnant. But anyway, his promise. So I don't know if that's a baby, but something's going to be birthed in September. Star sapphire. And I can't see what the other gems are, but I know there's room for more than just that one. It's like, you see those rings you give a mothers at Mother's Day. That's kind of what I'm seeing. It's silver and filigree, but the only gem I can see in it right now is the star sapphire.
So for you, it's interesting. I saw plants. I saw potted plants for you to plant in your garden, and they're flowering plants.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus came over and went, here, this is for you. And there's so many of them. You had a hard time holding them in your arms. But I don't know what that relates to what he gave you personally, but they were beautiful. I think one of them was a magnolia.
Mm.
And so you got more flowers for your garden.
Yeah, I had a word a few years ago when I was at a women's retreat, and the Lord showed me that I'd been in a hothouse by myself for the longest time, but then he was going to transplant me into the garden. And basically I knew it was about having relationships because I was so lonely for the longest time and so isolated. But also there's healing in the plants. I mean, with the essential oils, and just that's a part of healing, and the flowers and the virtue. And now he's telling me I have this virtue to give out with the violets. So it makes perfect sense. And I did look up gardenia, and gardenias represents purity.
Uh-huh.
So there's lots of flowers growing in the garden. And it also goes with my, the trees on the leaves for the healing of the nations. That's, something that the Lord has spoken over me, that kind of as I don't know if you want to call it a life verse, but something he's showed me in visions and given me as a word, as a promise to me, that I would be able to know what to do with the leaves on the tree for the healing of the nations, which makes sense because I have a call to healing. So it's all important. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Well, that's the truth. Sandy or Geraldine, did you see anything? What's the next picture? Are we at the end? We're at the end.
Yeah. So I heard the word revelation, and then he gave me a scroll, and then he gave me 3 leaves, and he fed them to me. So I ate the leaves, and I think I ate the scroll with it. I don't know what's on the scroll. So I ate the leaves, and then I turned into a bride in a wedding gown. And then I heard that I had the keys to the nations.
Wow. So you were the first person I saw, and he had decked you out in jewelry. You even had on one of those gold jewelry things that does this. And I said to him, this is weird because that's the kind of stuff I'd put on Laura. And he said, no, trust me, this is for Sandy. So I don't know what that means, but there's all sorts of jewelry and jewels coming your way.
Could you do the motion again on what the jewel looked like, or the like?
You'll see Easter
Oh, okay.
where
Right.
the thing that goes around the head, I don't even know what you call that thing.
Right.
They're very pretty.
Well, I was a bride in the. I turned into a bride when I ate the leaves and the scroll. So.
Because you're next.
Geraldine and I just sent off one of our other bench member into marriage this past weekend. So we keep teasing that the other one is next. So.
He dressed you. Come on.
So how about you, Geraldine? What happened with you?
He gave me a heart. So when I was standing there, a heart, which goes with what he's been doing the last couple of weeks. This actually, the whole night, it was about heart. Because at the incense table, I didn't put flowers or anything on it. He wanted my heart as the incense.
Wow.
And then then he gave me a new heart. So he gave one back. And I had said when, skinned and took to burn, that I wanted to be a sweet smelling incense to him. So anything that was bad, get it out and burn it. That was what I was saying. And then we went to the next thing, and so each thing was about his heart and how it was going to please him. And I kept saying that through the whole thing.
So
then got to the end, he got a heart.
you got a heart. Well, when I saw you, he was giving you a melody. Does that mean there's a song in your heart?
Yes, I think, yeah.
Yeah, he was giving you a melody. I thought that was interesting.
Yes, because that's been my heart's desire, is to do that, worship him. And he has been trained for years about the way you cover your leaders is by love. So you spread them with love, and it puts a love covering over people so that they can't get attacked as much by the enemy. And so I was getting that with my heart. I said, it's my heart that covers you so that you can do what you want through me. But I'm supposed to, he kept saying, cover me. So he's been showing that. I've had dreams about dancing around brides, protecting them. And then when I wake up, I hear, save the bride of Christ. And it's like, what? Oh, there's something there.
Wow.
I think that means you're next.
All right, you two.
We may be going to a double wedding soon.
Oh, yeah. What?
Well, Laura, we know it's not you or I.
No.
There's no way. Wow.
A song. I like the song. That goes with the 7 spirits of God. They were singing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
Mhm. I see that Jesus gave you on a 3 orange stones.
Hmm. And I saw him give me gold sandals, and I'm like, oh Lord, I know what that is. You've been saying for a long time I'm going to travel.
Mm,
You're preparing my feet. Orange stones.
orange stones.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah.
Well, orange is wisdom.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I saw she had a like floral necklace around your neck.
Oh,
Big flowers, but it was metal, but it was big flowers across your neck.
Did you see the colors, Sandy? And the colors for the flowers?
They were gold.
Gold.
mm.
Awesome.
Like a large statement necklace, not like a little tiny little.
Oh, yeah.
thing.
Yeah, one puny little thing would never do. It's got to be, beefy, weighty,
Big and bold, yes.
big and bold. Right. Maybe that's what the orange is about. Boldness.
Oh, it sounds like me. But anyway,
Yeah.
wow, Father, we thank you
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
for the evening, and we thank you for your presence. And as we leave the Holy of Holies, we know we leave forever changed. We thank you for ascension and traveling in the Spirit. We thank you for new preparation for new seasons in life. We thank you for joy. We thank you for fellowship and a bonding of kindred hearts and spirits. And we thank you for the healing that happened through this that we don't even know about today. But it's true, in your presence we are healed. And now, Father, as we go, we ask you to bless everyone that has an opportunity to watch this video.